once again, we've run a couple of articles about Cecosesola cooperative in Venezuela. Um, I found a nice little short video that they produced not too long ago, and I thought it was a good introduction. So I went ahead and made a transcript for it. Something I like to do and find some audio or video content that you know is worthy and needs to be as widely accessible as possible. So anything I think about Cecosesola is falls into that category. Um, so uh, the the video is definitely worth a watch. Here on YouTube. The This cooperative is incredibly impressive because it has zero hierarchy. It has no CEO, no board of directors, no managers. It is 100% horizontal, and they are, as it says here, they have 25,000 families who are involved with their cooperative funeral services. They each, contribute 20 cents a week, and they get funeral services for up to 9 family members. They have 100,000 families that shop at their food fairs. Um, they, produce 700 tons of fruits and vegetables a week. Um, They've got 50 families and 7 small processing plants. They produce their own pasta, their own granola, honey, fruit pulp, seasonings, vanilla, household cleaning products. They've got their own bank. They have their own hospital, um, and all of this, as they say, without adopting the culture of the bosses. So and they say right here, we began with the traditional organization structure with the board of directors, managers, and employees, but in the process, we discovered new ways of getting things done. Day by day, we strive to transcend the individualism and egotism we carry within us by rotating tasks and continuously reflecting on our daily behavior. Um, so they say, yeah, we no longer have managers, nor a board of directors, nor any domineering structure.
Wow.
So super, yes. Very interesting. And I was thinking about it to start us off and just like kind of with a spicy take. I was thinking about why we don't hear barely anything at all about Cecosesola, despite the fact they've been around for, I think, 50 years or so, and that they're very large. And, they're even in our hemisphere. But, we don't hear really anything about them. It's only in recently that the last couple of years I even was made aware of them, whereas we know a whole lot about like Mondragon, right? Everybody knows Mondragon, nobody knows Cecosesola. Why in the
Right.
US? And I was thinking, I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that most of the people in the US who are studying co-ops, into co-ops, developing co-ops, um, are tend to be from a certain class of people, a little more of the maybe professional managerial class, sorts, definitely, or, more professional, more kind of academic. And, something like Cecosesola, there's no, as compared to Mondragon, like there's no place that there are no professional managerials people.
Right.
There are no positions like that in Cecosesola, right? And so if you're a PMC type of person and you're looking at these different co-ops, Mondragon, like, oh, well, I can recognize that. And I recognize, there's a place for me there, right? And it's up in the hierarchy. Whereas in Cecosesola, there's no hierarchy. So, you know, those of us, of course, who always end up at the bottom of the hierarchy, Cecosesola seems pretty dang, good compared to even something like Mondragon, which certainly has its issues, despite being head and shoulders above most other companies in their industry. But anyway, so that was That was my thought on why something like Cecosesola gets very little play in our country.
Yeah, it's really, I think you make a great point there, Josh, because you're right. We all hear about Mondragon, but this one we've been pretty silent on. And I was thinking that their work is so important because we don't know where our economy is headed, and they're really providing a model for us to follow if things do break down in the economy, how we can take care of our own needs. So it's really important. And I'm glad that GEO can be a vehicle for giving them more publicity and other people in this country knowledge about them so that we might be able to follow their lead.
Yeah, that what you're mentioning, Josh, too, just kind of reminds me of how like some industries we don't have to continue to develop, um, and one of them, like, I hate to say it, but well, no, I don't hate to say it, but it's probably a little uncomfortable to say, but one is like a lot of the legal industry, um, like that, like this whole, like, so much of oppression in the United States is from, all this, like, everything being based through all these laws and all that. That's um, that's one of the things I think about too. Like, what are some industries that we don't need to keep developing? And part of that is essentially hierarchy, right? It's because some of these industries, they just create hierarchy, or they're used to maintain hierarchies. Um, yeah, I wonder also who doesn't want to be accused of being like a Chavista, or like I wonder if any of that stuff gets equated to being like a supporter of Hugo Chavez or something, because it's weird. Sometimes I'll see like
Mm-hmm.
anti-cooperative. It's so bizarre. Sometimes I don't know if it's just bots or something, but online, like when people mention um, like socialism, communism, and some of these, out of nowhere, people will start criticizing cooperatives, and I'll be like, what does that have to do with it? It doesn't have to have anything to do with that. Cooperatives develop outside of those movements as well, and the different types of. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those things can mean many different things, um, but I was one thing that I was thinking about recently as we're like scrolling through it, and I didn't really think about this the first time that I read it, was the whole idea of the practice about the funerals, and that's kind of here in the United States already, in my opinion. Like the need for that, because I've had that conversation with my family too, where we were talking about planning for our deaths, and we recognize, like, almost everyone we know, like, it's just kind of popular for no one to really ever be prepared, like in our circles, for the death of somebody. And I think my brother put it, I think he was making a joke, but it's like, I feel like it's a proletarian joke, and he was like, I don't want to be out selling barbecue plates to bury my mom. um, but I guess, the implication is like not being prepared. I mean, you can do that within the cooperative framework, and I think that would be okay. um, but I feel like that happens because, like, almost so many people I see, whenever they die, I'm always just waiting for the GoFundMe to happen, and that happens so often. So I think that's probably a cooperative solution that's really needed in a lot of communities, because a lot of people we're just so slammed. We
Mm-hmm.
can't, a lot of us can't even cover the cost of the death of a loved one.